Vitamin E, of course, good for skin. That's probably why you see it in a lot of moisturizers. Unfortunately, about 95% of the vitamin E on the market is synthetic, and it's not the complete vitamin E as well, which alpha tocopherol is 1/8 of the vitamin E complex. There are 7 other components to the vitamin E complex. And so,
Right.
unfortunately, the majority that's out there, they're really only getting 1/8, can you imagine, of their vitamin E needs. And so while we kind of just go for it, the body takes that and doesn't really have the complete picture of what it needs.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Healthy Habit Podcast, episode number 103. We're in the triple digits now, folks. If you've missed our previous episodes, the first 100, I'd head over to the Healthy Habit Podcast on our YouTube channel, hit the subscribe button, share a comment. It helps the algorithm there and it helps our channel grow. And here in episode number 103, we are talking with Mr. Steven Harkins. He is back, folks, for our monthly check-in with North American Herb and Spice. Welcome back to Steven here today, who is the Director of Education at North American Herb and Spice. And we've had the pleasure of talking with Steven now for a couple years, even starting back in Radio Land. So thanks, Steven, for joining us in the transition here to the podcast world. Welcome back to the podcast.
Thank you so much. Happy 2024, everyone. It's a wild year. I hope you've got your seatbelts on, and I'm excited to speak with you, and what a tremendous value to the community that you're able to offer on this show.
And folks, if you're in town, make sure you stop by Healthy Habit Health Foods. Talk to Stan, the demo man. He's when you walk into the building, make a right. You'll meet Stan right there, who's going to be demoing and giving out literature on all the things Steven and I are discussing here today. So let's start off with cilantro. Okay, this hasn't been talked about in a lot of podcasts that I've been listening to, but what are your thoughts? Because North American Herb and Spice produces a cilantro product, and the research behind cilantro is there's hundreds of papers, medical studies examining cilantro's role in our health. So tell us about it, Steven.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, it's not just for our tacos. Cilantro is one of those amazing allies in our health that it doesn't get enough love. It has to compete with all these other herbs that are out here that we talk on, but cilantro is, it's involved in many different things for the body. Probably the first thing that people think of when they are asked about cilantro is heavy metal detoxification. So, and if you are thinking about that right now, you're 100% spot on. The studies out there are pointing to specific metals. There's all kinds of metals we're surrounded by in either our foods or environment. And so things like cadmium, lead, mercury, these are arsenic. These are some of the worst ones that are out there, but certainly not the only ones. And in the studies, it talks about how taking cilantro can help with, detoxifying those heavy metals out of your body.
Right.
And it's not a question of when or if, it's more of when you get exposed to these things. And so it's just good to have that periodic cilantro working for you. Beyond that, digestion. If any of you struggle out there with gut health, this is amazing as a natural kind of lubricant. Helps the liver actually to make its bile, thereby helping your digestive process. One thing I found out about cilantro that I didn't know is that it's known as an anxiolytic, or it helps with anxiety and nervous tension.
I didn't know that either about cilantro. The first thing definitely that comes to mind is that the bitter activity with the liver and detoxifying and helping with heavy metal toxicity, like you said. So it looks like we have a Cilantrol, like cilantro with an L at the end, multi-spice blend, the oil of cilantro product by North American Herb and Spice, which supports a healthy detoxification response. And I think, is that what you were holding there in your hand a moment ago, Steve?
Yeah, so this is my personal bottle that I use, and I really believe in it. That's why it's one of the ones that I'm typically using on a day-to-day basis. For ongoing detox and kind of digestive support.
Perfect. And if you head over to NorthAmericanHerbandSpice.com, just head over to their shop And you can see the oil of cilantro product right here. This comes in a tincture. Is this the only cilantro product you'll have there at NAHS?
You know, we actually do have a hydrosol, which is a water extract of the
Uh-huh.
cilantro. I'm partial to the oil. I like the concentration
Yeah.
potency. But you know, if we had somebody on a protocol, perhaps they would do both. You know, whereas the oil is more potent, the um, the water extract is easier to get through the blood-brain barrier. So if you want to kind of work on the neck up, and you know, sometimes our brain even needs a detoxification too. We have a water extract. It's called Essence of
Uh-huh.
Cilantro.
Very nice. Perfect. Okay, so and I'm showing, if you're on the YouTube channel, you're seeing me. I'm showing the Cilantrol product here before we pivot. I want to quickly highlight, so one serving size is 5 drops, Stephen, and it gives you 172 servings per container. So this should last a long time, correct? How should one use
Yeah.
this?
So that's our maintenance dose. You know, it's kind of like your baseline if you want to do it on a consistent basis every day and be
Yeah.
proactive like the wise folks are. Or let's say you are reactive. Let's say you just found out about cilantro and you got a heavy load. You can't remember the last time you did a heavy metal detox for yourself. You
Right.
can do more. You know, we've had people do, I typically do about a half dropper because I want to get that larger support. But even then, of course, you're still getting, you know, about 45 to 50 servings in the bottle, even with the half dropper.
And then you go right under the tongue, or what are you going to do? Add it to water, juice, on top of food? How would you
You
use
know,
this cilantro?
it has such a smooth taste that goes down really well where I don't even need water with it. So I just put it under my tongue and I just, you know, let it down the hatch, just straight up.
There we go. And I'm about to do a screen share to show you folks the essence. And not many other companies, actually none that I've heard of, have an essence line of herbs like this. And they also have a rosemary, which has the same idea here. The essence of cilantro, healthy detox support. Search, folks, you can just go down a rabbit hole on Google on cilantro for the liver and gallbladder and heavy metal testing and before and after using cilantro. It's really a good detoxer. Oxygen rich. Explain this then real quick. You mentioned the essence a moment ago, but here it is. I'm showing it for the YouTube viewers.
Well, when we make the oil, we are steam distilling the raw material or the bunches of cilantro that we have to work with. And
Hmm.
then from that, as a byproduct, you actually get this very water rich extract, which is naturally oxygenated. And then those oxygen cells are actually bonding with the different plant chemicals in cilantro. So it's easier to absorb. It just goes immediately down into your tissues and your digestive tract, and then also for your brain, and of course, the oxygenation of your blood and things like that as well.
Incredible. Essence of cilantro is a pure steam distillation of remote source mountain grown cilantro produced using natural deep well water springs rich in essential minerals and nutrients. And folks, again, that's the essence of cilantro. I like this because it's in glass. A lot of North American herb and spice products are in glass. So why is that valuable compared to just only plastic with just like a lot of other supplements?
Well, microplastics are a problem. They're everywhere. You know,
Yeah.
I saw a consumer report that, you know, it's estimated the average person gets a credit card worth of plastic in their body every year, or excuse me, every week. And so I don't think that's sustainable for us
Wow.
humans. And so yeah, we do need to, you know, try to avoid plastic, try not to drink out of plastic water bottles if you can. There's a lot of endocrine disruptors as
Right.
well, just not fit for human consumption. And those little tiny pieces that you can't see can actually circulate throughout your body.
Incredible. Pivoting to vitamin E, tell us your thoughts on vitamin E, fat soluble vitamin, as opposed to the water soluble vitamins, which would be the B vitamins, B12, vitamin C, and others. Let's hear your thoughts on vitamin E and what does North American Herb and Spice have to offer when it comes to vitamin E?
Well, it's interesting. Vitamin E is one of those nutrients that were actually more recently discovered compared to vitamin C and others. And so, you know, even my aunt, Miss Judy, president of our company, when she was in nutritional school, she told me that they really only knew that it was good for pregnancy and fertility, but they didn't know much else, just reproductive health. Now they know much more. They found that vitamin E is used by every cell in the body. And actually, it's an amazing nutrient for the heart. And it
Hmm.
makes a big difference if you're deficient or if you have enough for cardiovascular health. Also, vitamin E is um, like vitamin C, it's an antioxidant, but it's a fat soluble antioxidant, which
Hmm.
is its own unique thing. But antioxidants are absolutely critical and necessary for us because they naturally repair damaged cells in the body,
Right.
and they keep your cells going longer, and that goes into your tissues and organs. Vitamin E, of course, good for skin. That's probably why you see it in a lot of moisturizers. Unfortunately, about 95% of the vitamin E on the market is synthetic, and it's not the complete vitamin E as well, which is why we took it upon ourselves to grab three superfoods and put them together to give you that, true vitamin E complex.
You said a lot of the vitamin E on the market it's not the correct form that it needs to be in. It's contaminated. What's the main issues with it?
So it doesn't come from a food. I think that's the first mistake of the
Okay.
manufacturer. So they are commonly, if you check it out on also when they do sometimes use it from food, it's coming from soy. That's
Uh-huh.
problematic. That can be pesticide laden or even genetically modified. And then the other thing is the form of it is, as you read it on the label, it says alpha tocopherol,
Hmm.
which alpha tocopherol is 1/8 of the vitamin E complex. There are seven other components to the vitamin E complex. And so,
Right.
unfortunately, the majority that's out there, they're really only getting 1/8. Can you imagine of their vitamin E needs? And so, while we kind of just go for it, the body takes that and doesn't really have the complete picture of what it needs.
Incredible. So Purely E. In fact, there's Purely Zinc. We have Purely C, even from North American Herb and Spice. Today we're highlighting Purely E, which is from food, correct? The soy-free vitamin
Yes,
E complex.
absolutely.
Tell us about the Purely E. Where are you sourcing the vitamin E from and why?
So the sunflower seed oil, which is in the raw, that comes from the United States, good old America.
Uh-huh.
The the Austrian pumpkin seed oil, I bet you can guess where that comes from. That's
Right.
from Europe, Austria, and that as well. It's by the way the pumpkin seed oil, and then the other one, red palm oil, comes from Africa, and it's got a very interesting ratio. It's 70% tocotrienols to 30% tocopherols. The
Hmm.
tocotrienols are more desirable for your health, and so it's
Okay.
good to have that ratio. But altogether, they do have all eight out of eight of the components that make a complete vitamin E complex. That's why we love these whole food sources. And of course, they're full of natural antioxidants and
Right.
so many other cofactors.
And this comes in capsule form, Stephen, or is it powder just like the Purely Zinc and
So
C?
we have a couple options on this.
Okay.
We have a oil. So you don't, if you feel like you already have enough capsules in your life, you can
Right.
grab the oil and you don't need much. Actually 3 to 5 drops a few times a week is really all you need because with fat soluble, you can overdo it. So
Right.
just, be moderate with it and be consistent and you're good. And that'll last a long time. But then we do have soft gels as well. So it's convenience and you don't have to taste it.
So
Although
we
it
have
tastes pretty good.
we have the oil and the soft gels.
Oil and soft gels.
Perfect, which makes sense because it's fat soluble to have it in an oil form, right?
Yeah.
So you can't just make a statement then that seed oils equal bad, right? That's
No.
a typical way to do it here in North America. People are so black and white, like meat is bad for you or good for you, or eggs are bad or good for you, right? Seed oils are good or bad. What about black seed oil? What about red palm oil and all these other seeds, right? You have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad you brought that up because I feel like there's a lot of, just misinformation out there where we just write off an entire category of food.
Right.
And, there's some nuances that we should all be aware of because we could actually be harming ourselves by not getting, we could be malnourished and things like that.
And that happens. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, that happens when people get too in these divisive camps. Then you start missing key nutrients, right?
and I give people credit because they're so disciplined that they want to adhere to this very strict, rigid, thing. And I've been caught up in that in my
Of
own health
course.
journey, and I
Same.
feel like I'm liberated now, where I can have a good balanced diet. But yeah, and then of course everybody's different. Not everyone. It's not a one size fits all as far as diets go, in my opinion, my experience. But yeah, seed oils. The problem with the ones that we know are problematic, are really in the when you're eating out, when you're getting that DoorDash, when you're going
Yeah.
to a fast food place, your cheat meal, and they're using refined canola, and they're using rape seed oil and cottonseed and soybean and all that. Yeah, that's problematic. It's super refined and heated and things like that. Sunflower seeds are good. I hope people are eating those. It's a great source of vitamin E. And raw sunflower seed oil is not bad. And then people talk about omega 6s like they're the plague, but omega 6s aren't bad in and of themselves. The problem is we're getting way too
The
much of them,
amount.
not enough omega 3s, and the ratio is totally inversed and thrown off.
I love that, brother. I love that you mentioned that even omega 6s, we need them, right? We need them. It's just the ratios are out of whack. Like peanuts, for example, are huge, very high in omega 6s. But what if you just use a little thin layer for the day and you're done with it? I like that you mentioned this oil, the Purely E oil we just highlighted. You only need a couple drops, right? Maybe a teaspoon, right? And then it's easy to overdo it on oil in general. And it's so dense in calories that people that are trying to lose weight might have difficulty. You only need a couple drops, correct? Like you said.
Correct. Yeah, oils aren't meant to be taken in mass quantities.
100%.
But they should be taken just like fish oil, for example. You don't need much. You just need a little bit. Vitamin E oil, same thing. So don't overdo it with the fats, but don't neglect it, because then again too, fats, the good fats, help us lose the bad fats. It's
Right.
interesting. So I mean, good fats can help you burn bad fats. So, for those who are
100%.
listening. Mhm.
Folks, it's episode 103 here, and I'm your host, Dr. Dayon of the Healthy Habit Podcast here. And we're talking with Steven Harkins, the Director of Education at North American Herb and Spice. And if you haven't been down to our store yet, check us out at 6029 North 7th Street, 6029 North 7th Street. Give our store a call at 602-252-6000. We'll finish off talking about ActiFem, and maybe we might mention the new PurelyMin triple magnesium with about a minute to go at the end. But tell us about ActiFem, Steve.
Well, I love it, and if you're a woman, or even a teenage girl, so this is developed. It's a formula that's developed to help young girls who are just getting their menstrual cycle all the way up to post-menopause, and it's
Right.
all about hormone balance. We got so many things out there getting us disrupting our endocrine system, and there's a lot of thyroid issues, and there's a lot of adrenal situations, and there's irregular cycles and things like this.
Right.
But there is, natural herbs out there, and we're using things like royal jelly, which is fantastic for that hormone balance, and thyroid. We're using kelp, which has natural iodine for the thyroid. Most of us don't get the iodine we need. The thyroid struggles to function because of
Right.
that. And then we've got the raspberry leaf, which has a compound in there that helps with hormone balance as well. And then fenugreek as well for hormone. So these are all balancing herbs, just for women, to help you get back on track.
And these are all related: vitamin E, the ActiFem, and the Cilantro products we highlighted in the beginning, because you're going to be supporting hormone balance with vitamin E. Then cilantro is going to help you with the liver detox, because if you have excess estrogens in the system, the liver needs to be functioning well, right, Stephen, to help all that clear out of the body. And then you
Yes,
plug in the ActiFem. Are these all related?
they are. And going back to the liver, 80% of the thyroid function is thought to happen in the liver.
Oh, wow. Yeah,
Your
exactly.
cholesterol is formed in the liver, which helps with your other hormones and testosterone. And so, yeah, people don't realize that hormones, we have so many of them in our body at any given moment. They are responsible. They're involved in our neurotransmissions. They help with our mental health, how we feel, mood swings, our weight, helping to
Right.
have a healthy weight. So they're just, if you can get that under control, you can really bring yourself back to good health.
Amazing. Well, last segment here, last section. I wanted to highlight real quick again what's in the ActiFem. We mentioned the raspberry and sage. Whenever I hear wild raspberry, I think women's health a lot with hormones, that
Yeah.
endocrine response. And what else was the key ones there, the takeaways?
So and so it has fennel. That's one of the big ones that are in the
Yeah.
formula as well. And that can help if you've got like bad cramping, during that time of the month. Even there are different issues and cramping and flashes, hot flashes during menopause. It really helps with bloating and cramping in the stomach area. So there's good amount of fennel in there. The royal jelly has different B vitamins. These B vitamins help with your metabolism, and they're involved in many different functions, and
Right.
they're certainly involved in the thyroid function. And then you've got the pantothenic acid, which is also a B vitamin, which is tough to get, which also helps with your thyroid and adrenal function. So
Right.
it a whole package where instead of buying all these things individually, it's all in one place. And there are capsules that you can take, usually about 2 capsule serving or 1 capsule if you're just doing a maintenance.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
absolutely.
stability, that's what we want to help you with.
And that's the ActiFem again, folks. Active like active, and then fem like female, FEM, by North American Herb and Spice. And we have fennel in there again. That's again, like you mentioned, for the digestion. It's funny at Indian buffets, Indian restaurants, they put that bowl of fennel on the exit when you're leaving the building. I don't know if you noticed that to help with
Yes, they
digestion
know.
after the meal.
Absolutely. It's even good for parasites, even traditionally. Fennel is.
Right. So that whole digestive response helps support digestive health. And then, of course, the kelp for the thyroid. But there's fenugreek in there as well. That's a really phenomenal herb for metabolism and blood sugar support. It's a strong anti-diabetic herb that you can use in your lifestyle. And of course, never medical advice, right, Stephen?
Right. Ever that. We
Yeah.
are not doctors. We are students like you. Do the research, and then we see how these things help us and others, and share that info.
Right, just educating, and then you could do your own due diligence or work with your own doc and mention some of these products to them. They might want to take
Yeah.
it too with you. Who knows? So let's highlight the triple. This it's been a great launch for this product here, the
Mm.
PurelyMin Triple Magnesium. We're seeing
Yes.
a huge demand right now on this new one. Let's highlight this one again. If you missed, for the listeners, if you guys missed the last time we talked with Steven, the title of that episode, by the way, which was episode number 90, triple magnesium, zinc, liver, and we did highlight cilantro there at the end of that episode. So tell us about it, triple mag.
If you don't have a plan for your magnesium, then you plan to fail, because
Mm,
magnesium, like almost 80% of people are deficient. You need it for your bones. You need it for your metabolism. You need it for your muscle strength and health. You need it for your energy. You need it to be able to relax and be calm. You need it for your heart health. And if you don't have it, you're going to know. Yeah. And so what I love about it, by the way, if you're taking a vitamin D
yeah,
supplement and you're not getting enough magnesium, or even if you're in the sun but you don't have the mag, you
yeah.
will not absorb that as well. So magnesium is a precursor for absorbing vitamin D, and
Hmm,
vitamin D itself is a hormone. Going back to that hormonal conversation,
right,
magnesium and also vitamin D for the immune support. So thereby, magnesium does everything vitamin D does because it's needed to help you with vitamin D. It's not just a mineral, it's involved in over 300 bodily processes in the body, which
right.
is what makes it the top mineral. It's an electrolyte. It absolutely charges up your battery packs and your cells. It's like the energy currency of your body. So one of the big things is if you have a lot of fatigue, that's one of the number one signs you could be deficient in this one.
Yeah. And
And
again, folks, if you go to northamericanurbanspice.com, and I'll link the website below in the description box under the video. And this is their brand. This is their homepage right here. You can see it. The try our new triple magnesium complex. The Purely Min is the official name, like Purely E that we just highlighted, but Purely Min, and you just hit shop now, and then you can see that all there which has the three different types of magnesium, correct?
That's right. The formula is paramount. It does have the three top research forms of magnesium. There are some magnesium forms out there that are on the cheap side. You got to be careful with that. Some of the issues, it can cause you to have diarrhea or go to the bathroom too much.
Yeah.
And so, we get the 3 and 8 is really helpful for the brain. And then the glycinate is the most absorbable magnesium, helps you absorb very well. And then taurate is all about heart health, blood pressure support. And so we love this. And then the L-theanine is really a bonus. That also helps with mental clarity, good mood, and focus.
Incredible. PurelyMin, folks, come pick it up, or you can order online directly from them. You guys ship nationwide, I'm sure, Steven?
We do. Yeah, absolutely. Anywhere you
Beautiful.
want us to ship, anywhere in the United States and beyond.
Incredible. And that has the theanine with it, which that's a lot of people drink matcha or like green tea over coffee because of that L-theanine.
Exactly.
It has more of that relaxing effect. Plus, you're adding in the triple magnesium on top, so that should really kick in nicely. And a lot of people are deficient in magnesium, like you highlighted.
Well, I'm
So
taking it. I've been
there
taking
you
it. I'm on
go.
my second bottle. I feel like it's an amazing brain hack and
Yeah.
performance enhancer in my life. And so I would love to share that. Anyone that is interested, I think it'll be one of the best decisions you've made.
And on that note, I want to thank you, Steve, for coming on for episode 103. Our listeners are going to appreciate this. And folks, be on the lookout for PurelyMin. Come talk to Stan, the demo man, and he'll get you guys set up with what we're talking about here today with Steven Harkins. Thank you, Steven.
Thank you very much.